Hey everybody, welcome back. Taking a day off of some Jeep work today, getting the Dutch bucket tomatoes going. I'm just a little bit late this year getting these started, but we had such a good year last year. We were picking them right through October. And I think you can see I'm using the rocks again. And not sure, the pump is actually running right now. Let's see if I can get you. You can see maybe that guy running. That guy. You can see the nutrients just kind of dripping out into the rocks, over the plant roots. And I have it on a timer. And it's I believe 10 o'clock right now, so it'll run 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock and then 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Runs for an hour at a time. Got some cucumbers started in these buckets here, so just a tiny slow drip on those. But I've got all my buckets set up again. I think we got another 54 plants or so. And we got all our drip lines in. And you can see these lower plants drain directly into the main tube that dumps into my bucket. And I think you can see the upper buckets. They drip right into the lower buckets. Trying to make the most of space, so if you have just a small area you're planting, and I'm just doing these on the house deck, but if you have a small area that you're planting, you could just put the upper buckets over the lowers and just let it drip in. Drips into the lower bucket, into your main header here. And then all those buckets drain into our main water source. And we've got the pump in there. Like I say, it's actually running right now, so I'm not going to take it out, but you can see it right there. And then that just feeds our main header line. All the drip lines come off that. So just getting started. Like I say, we're a little bit late, but I like to get the tomatoes a little bit later in the year, so we'll have a good supply for August, September, October. And it's a little bit cooler then, so it's easier to do the jarring and stuff like that. But I just recycled last year's buckets, and I recycle the stone every year, and I just put it in one of these tubs, and I use about a full tub of stone every year to put the tomatoes together. And I put a few scoops in the bottom of the bucket, and then I put this tube in, drop the tomato plant in there so I don't damage it when I'm putting the stone in, and then just pick that right up over the tomato and let the rocks fall in. A lot of guys use perlite and different things for tomatoes. You know, I could pick rocks up like this, like a river rock, a real smooth river rock like this for, I think this whole tub was only $30. And if you're using anything else, it gets quite costly when you're doing 50 buckets. So the rocks are fine. I proved that last year that it works out real good. And if you're interested in using the rocks, just protect your plant when you're putting your plant in. And I do it just with a piece of that PVC pipe. So we're off and running on the Dutch bucket tomatoes, and nutrients are in the water, and it's circulating. We've got a massive heat wave coming, 10 days of over 90-degree weather. So I might put a few more run cycles on the timer, but I just got a cord and that runs to a plug. There's a regular house timer on that, and that works real good. Just kicks it on and off. I don't run it through the real midnight hours, you know, like I quit about 8 o'clock at night and then come back on at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And it seems to work pretty good. The tomatoes do real well, and I will show you a shot of them right now. and in just a couple weeks you'll see how much they grow and how fast they grow, and they'll be climbing all up there, and I'll have them tied everywhere, and tomatoes will start popping out in no time. So any questions about Dutch bucket tomatoes, give me shoot me a comment and let me know what you're thinking if you're just starting. It's very easy to do, but if you get hung up on anything, just shoot me a comment. I'll let you know how I do it. Okay guys, we're heading in the chicken barn here. And got a new batch of chicks in. We're all cleaned out for the season and ready to get these guys growing. Okay, there's some day-old chicks here, and these are the Cornish Cross, or the Cornish Rock, whatever you want to call it. These are a meat bird, and when you get your little guys, just dunk their beak in the water so they know they got water, and they're going to drink like crazy for the first day. And I've got the heat lamp off already. They need 95-degree temperatures, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's already 90 degrees out. So, like I say, we're in a heat wave, so I just keep the light on at night. If I start them in the spring, well then obviously you got to have the light on them all the time. But with this crazy hot temperature, they're doing just fine. And in a couple weeks, they'll move out into this big area here, and they'll have the run of the place, and another batch will go in there. So I'll show you the process as they grow, and how they get processed and this and that, if anybody's interested in seeing it. And I run them in this barn now. I used to run them out in that field there. I had little chicken tractors, they're called, and move them around every day to a new piece of grass. But basically all I was doing was feeding the raccoons and the fisher cats, and they were just eating the chickens every night. So I moved them in this barn, and I bring them greens every day when they get a little bit older. I bring them grass, and I've got some comfrey growing, and they eat all kinds of stuff, and vegetables from the garden, tomatoes, cucumbers, things like that. They get a very good diet, and you'll see how fast they grow. In 8 weeks these guys will be ready for butchering, and like I say, if anybody would like to see that, I can show you the process. Okay everybody, we're back at the sawmill now, and we're making some progress. Didn't do much over the winter, and springtime kind of got away from me, but blocks are coming in now. These are 5,000-pound cement blocks, and you remember me if you've been following along on my channel. You remember I made that gin pole off the back of that 5-ton truck, and I can easily lift these off the trailer and set them where they need to be. And I believe I got about 15 of them here right now, and they will be at the height of where the husk is sitting right now. Shadows are kind of tough, but those blocks will be the height of this I-beam right here, and everything's overgrown, but the track will go 45 feet that way. It'll span the husk, and then we'll go another 45 feet that way. So I got 90 feet of track, and those blocks need to get set very accurately to support the track, and that's what's coming next as I get some spare time. You remember when we put this up, if you've been following along, you remember the outer edge of our building, and things are finally starting to take shape here, and little by little I'm gaining on it. So just bringing you some updates of a few projects here around the farm. But having the blocks has been or getting them here and getting them unloaded has been a accomplishment, and they're here and ready to be set now. There are those fenders off of that CJ3B welder Jeep and a windshield. I don't know if you can see it, it's under here. It's in pretty nice shape. We'll see what it looks like after I sandblast it. But got a little bit of blasting to do once the humidity quits. And I'll show you what those 3B fenders look like after they're blasted and in epoxy primer. I think they're going to be okay. And I'll take you over and show you the vehicle that's going to supply the engine for that welder Jeep. We'll head over there now. Okay guys, this is a 2001 GMC 1500 pickup, and that has the Vortec V6 that we're going to use in the welder Jeep. And I will show you from plucking this thing out of here to stripping it down. I'm going to remove all of the computer operated fuel system on these. They were kind of a pain. A lot of things went wrong with them. I'll show you how to put the right manifold and carburetor on there, strip it down, and have a good running engine without all the bells and whistles. There won't be any air conditioning or anything like that. The alternator somebody snagged already off there, but we'll put something new on there. And we'll do a custom exhaust system and stuff like that. So that is the power plant for the welder Jeep. And I have a 465 transmission for that, which I will keep the stock Model 18 transfer case. I'll show you how to put that together, and that's what's coming for that Jeep. So you could find these vehicles just about anywhere, and don't be afraid if it's a later model. You can easily get a intake manifold and carburetor for it if you don't want to mess around with the fuel injection. And these are in junkyards across America. They're just everywhere. You could easily find one of these if you want to if you need a donor V6. So that's what's happening. Like I say, I'll strip it down to its basic form and show you how to build it properly and stick it in a Jeep and make it fit correctly and run correctly. And we'll upgrade everything, the steering, the brakes, the axles, transmission, and we'll make a solid, good running CJ3B. And I'll take you along and show you what I can along the way. Okay guys, here's our final stop along the way. These are the cedar telephone poles that are going to make the sawmill building. These are not the treated creosote standard ones, and they're not the pressure treated ones. These are for the big high tension lines, and some of these were 75-80 feet long, and then they cut them down to size. And I've got about 20 footers here, and each one is going to sit on a cement block, because this ground everywhere that we're on around the sawmill, I'm right on ledge here, so I can't dig and put the telephone pole in the ground. So I'll set a block, I will make a steel ring to go around the pole, anchor that to the block, and then screw that into the block. And with enough blocks and enough telephone poles and stuff, I don't think it'll go anywhere. Building's going to be over 100 feet long, so these will make nice supports. And I don't know when I'll get to this, but telephone poles are here now, and we're ready to go. So that's about all I have for you today, and we'll head back to the barn. And I appreciate you watching the videos, and if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Pass it along to a friend. Like I say, if there's anything you'd like to see, just shoot me a comment and I'll try and get it out there for you. Okay, see you on the next video.